Hey, Jonah. I should have an amazing intro like that that will send live from London. It's DK Jonah. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome to another amazing episode of Stock to Finish, a series where we're trying to uncover why people don't complete what they've started. Now, in this series, we've covered a couple of things. The first thing we've identified is people desire to do work. So starting goals is not a problem. People are motivated, but motivation is not enough to get things done. We've said people are unable to complete their task or their goals for many reasons, probably because they are procrastinating, they have the bad attitude to work ethics are poor, they don't have the skills, doubt, fear, and so many other things could cripple the way you get things done. Today, we're looking at something and how it impacts our productivity. I made a little bit of changes as I was doing this research, and I would explain why. When I was looking at priorities, my intention was to try and just understand the foundation of priorities. But I think most people understand the foundation, but they do not understand the practicality of it. So I'll be giving you a couple of options of what you can use as your what I will call your action status. Bear in mind, I will explain what that is in a couple of minutes. But welcome. So today's series, we're looking at priorities, how to decide what to do. One factor that prevents people from getting things done is overwhelm. So they are overwhelmed, they are unable to complete tasks, they have difficulty concentrating. You're unable to even choose the task to function or to focus on at a particular time. So you're busy being busy, but you're not accomplishing anything. You're not doing what matters. You're not doing tasks that will give you the results that you need. So you spend a great deal of time focusing on the wrong things. And that's where we come in. So my name is DK Jonah and I am a productivity coach. Today's conversation is on priorities. And when we talk about priorities in productivity, we're talking about something that is considered more important than other matters. Remember, we said that our foundation looks at a couple of things. Let me see if I have that. Yes, our strategic productivity method helps us define what matters, design what matters, and deliver what matters. So, what we're looking at is how do you decide what matters? What are your priorities? How do you decide what to focus on at a specific time without feeling overwhelmed, without getting distracted, and you're getting the results that you know you deserve? So, a priority is something that is considered more important than other matters. It is something that needs to be done or dealt with first. So you're looking like a scale of preference. You have like a long to-do list. Remember, we said it's not enough to have a to-do list. That doesn't mean to-do list should be neglected completely. It just means it's not enough to just have a to-do list. We'll be talking a little bit with speed about to-do list today. But before we do that, we need to understand the significance of priorities. So when it comes to setting priorities, it's not enough to simply focus on the task and activities. Most times we want to just get it done. We just want to get this task done. But we need to go deeper. We need to dig deeper and then understand certain things that govern why you do what you do. What is the reason behind what you do? Why certain things matter to you? Why does Abalimo matter to me? Why do values matter to me? Why does Christianity matter to me? Why does integrity matter to me? Those are my priorities in that particular order. But it's different things for different people. And when we uncover the why behind our priorities, the fantastic thing is this: you gain a deeper sense of understanding and meaning and purpose into our works and lives. And the reason when people say, Dalkoro, how are you able to accomplish so much despite the fact that you're going through a chronic illness and you've been struggling with this for years? I say it's because I know why I do what I do. So once you know your why, you are able to actually do it without anyone forcing you to do it. So I don't see what I do as forceful. I don't see it as something difficult because I've understood why, and understanding why helps me as an individual make intentional choices. Every choice you make lets you let go of another project. So the desire to go on a long drive and deliver a basket of food prevents me from going live and teaching, for example. and it's what's aligned with our long-term goals and values. So let's talk a little bit about this briefly. So we said is define what matters, design what matters, and deliver what matters. Every single thing that we've been doing from the beginning till date has been based on this. It's been based on this simple strategic productivity system because that's what we're building. All these things are helping you understand the skills, the things you need to build your own productivity system, because it's not enough to have a to-do list, like I said. To-do lists are not enough. You need to start somewhere. So yes, we said to do this are not enough, but you need to have one space where you write every single thing that you need. So you can take a screenshot of this page. Well, I want you to create a master list. It can be a page, it can be a document, it can be your reminder sheet, somewhere where you write every single thing that you want to do. It's your central location, not mine. So have a central location for every single thing you do, and you'll be surprised at the results you get because you will tick things off. So yes, lists are enough, but they are not all that you need. And then for us, for me, I look at my 1, 2, 3 guide to task management. So my daily activities are filled with one mini task, one maxi task, two midi tasks, and three mini tasks. A maxi task is something that requires deep work. We talked about deep work together yesterday. A mini task requires concentration, but not full concentration. So it's something that you can do, but you don't need all your attention to do it. So every day I do two things about of that nature. The mini tasks, no matter what, there are three mini things I must do daily: journal, check on Instagram, and something else. It could be different for different people. So we've talked about maxi tasks. Maxi tasks is just a reminder. So I say I'm going to brush through. Requires maximum attention, is a priority. But what is that priority? What makes a maxi task a priority? Midi quest requires some attention, takes 2 hours on your to-do list, and mini task takes like 10 to 30 minutes. It's a no-brainer. Does not require effort. It's something that you would do. It's something that you should do late daily. You should journal daily, but it's not the most important thing. And we talked about having an inbox for your brain. So let's go back to the colors for the week. Goals. Now, everyone talks about goals, so we're talking about setting meaningful goals, setting goals that you will be able to accomplish, because your priorities are based on your goals. So why are goals important? Goals are important because it gives you a sense of direction, but your goals are backed by something else, and that has to do with your values. Now, let's talk a little bit about your values. Do you know your values? Do you know the things that make you smile? Do you know the things that are priority to you? When we use that word priority, but we're going to replace the word priority with important. Do you know what is the most important thing to you? It could be your beliefs as a Christian or a Muslim. It could be your guiding principles as someone that lives on earth as a human. But there are certain things that guide what you do. There are certain things that no matter what, you will not do because of your value system. So I don't want to have a lecture about values, but everybody has core values. You should have core values that govern what you do. So my highest priority in life is my highest value, which is peace. So I'll do anything that I know that brings peace, and I have to define peace for me. I want you to define these values for yourself. Like I said, we're not going to talk more about core values today, but just note this: there are certain things that mean something to you, that guide why you do what you do. Some great examples of values are integrity, credibility. So there are some people that no matter what, it's going to affect their credibility, they would not do it. So think about yourself. Do you have values? Let me know in the comments if you have values. Do you have values? Do you think about your values when you're setting goals? I remember someone telling me that, oh, she was traveling and then people told her to get divorced and get married to someone else. But because our highest value is being honest, she will always be honest no matter what. Yes, jack buying was something she could do, but based on whose values, based on whose principles. So, what are the principles and beliefs that guide you? It shouldn't be something that is in your head, it's something that you should have in central view. The same way you have a vision board, you can have certain things on your phone. There are certain things that you need to remind yourself of regularly, and values is one of them. Now it brings us to the second one, the vision. I think an amazing definition of vision that always comes to mind is: vision is a picture of the future. So, this definition is similar, but this is a compelling image of the future we want to create for ourselves. Now, visualize vision. Think about it. Picture this. What do you want your future life to be? I've pictured the way I want my future life to be. Have you? Do you have a vision for yourself? Do you have this compelling image at the back of your mind that propels you forward when you are doing things? These are the things that make certain things your priority. If your vision is not just about driving cars, living in the best mansion, vacationing, but if your vision is about adding impact, leaving a legacy behind, which is my vision, so I'm just sharing my vision, then your outlook on life will be different and your priorities will be different. We've said priorities are taking things in the order of importance. So if you did economics, you remember scale of preference. So when you're talking about priorities, think about preference. What should be the most important thing, and how do you determine what's important? That's what we have to think about. But before we do that, it begins with clarifying our long-term vision and aspirations. So, as an individual, do you have vision for yourself? Short term, do you have long-term visions? If you do, what are they? Do you have you articulated your vision? Have you articulated your values, or are they still in your head? Because we want to have a sense of coherence and authenticity in your choices, because priorities are about making choices. In order to do A, you can't do A and B and do both of them well. So we are talking about leaving a legacy. You don't want to leave a legacy that is jaga jaga. You want to leave a legacy. I think that should be don't leave a legacy that is jaga jaga. Wilson, if you are there, please help me write that and pin that. I think I need to make a t-shirt of that. Don't leave a legacy that is jaga jaga if that's what you desire to do. Don't live your life anyhow, because you're like, at the end of the day, the end justifies the means. Once you know your values, once you know your vision, once you know all these things, it influences your priorities. But another thing that Brian Tracy taught me in the book is that frog. It talks about urgency and importance. And before we talk about urgency and importance a little bit, I want to say this. Some of us are so calm, especially when it comes to our goals. We don't live with a sense of urgency because we think, oh, there's always tomorrow. So the goal we're meant to start in 2021, we've not started it because and tomorrow I will start. Tomorrow is not specific because you keep saying tomorrow. Every day is tomorrow. Tomorrow is always going to come, but what part of tomorrow, what time tomorrow, what specific tomorrow are you referring to? We don't live with a sense of urgency. We are comfortable, especially if you have your job, you have other things. You're like, oh, I want to leave a legacy when I retire. When I retire, I will do this. When I retire, I will do that. But you have time that you can use to start building things up gradually. This series is to encourage you to start building now. You don't need to wait for things to be perfect to build. You just need to start. And when you start, you will definitely continue. But if you don't start, you're unable to know what to do or what not to do. So, urgency and importance, very, 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 very vital. How do we evaluate urgency and importance? And let's see. All right, so this is another quote that I like. The clock is ticking. What are you waiting for? This is in line with what I said earlier about your goals, about accomplishing it, about going for it, about not just sitting idle. The clock is ticking every day. It's ticking, ticking, ticking. The clock is not going to wait for you. Even if you remove the battery from your own clock, the clock is still ticking. The other clocks are ticking. There is a clock, a universal clock that we cannot stop called nature, called day and night, called the law of seed time and harvest. The clock is ticking. What are you waiting for? You could be waiting for something, but let's talk about urgency and importance. So there's the Eisenhower matrix, the ABC method, the impact effort, and the 1, 2, 3 protocol that we already talked about. These are a couple of frameworks for helping us, but we're not going to really talk about frameworks because you can actually just Google them and you find them out, except the 1, 2, 3 task protocol, because that's my own way of doing task. It's how I define task because I realize that not every task carries the same weight. Not every task requires the same attention. So when you know the task that requires more attention, you know where to place it. So these frameworks help us assess the priority level of each task based on urgency and importance. And we have a couple of tables that we can use, something like the impact effort matrix. This one is simple because it helps you manage it groups, and you can use it as an individual. This is how I would use it. You start by assessing the tasks you need to do based on the efforts required, because you're looking at the impact it will have and the efforts you require to get things done. As I said earlier, not all tasks require the same effort, not all tasks require the same attention. So you could use post-it notes, and there are digital post-it notes that you can use. Use a method that works for you. But let's see something like post-it notes. You use something like post-it notes. I think for this one, I just got this off Canva, so it's fantastic. I didn't look, I was looking for something that you can easily have access to. So they call this project list. I would have called it a master list. So your project list is the on the left, and then you have your what you call your quick wins, major projects, fill-ins, and thankless task. Everybody defines things in different ways, but then you have impact on this axis and effort on the other axis, and you have high, low, low, high. So the quick win tasks are tasks that have high impact but require low effort. So there are certain tasks that you're about to do that no matter what it needs high impact, it's very impactful, but it requires very low effort to do it. What's that for you? For me, that can be something as simple as just attending co-working with my team, attending that meeting and showing up, that to show them that I am available for them to ask me questions. That's a quick win because everybody can come in there and ask me questions. So what I do daily is I show up for those meetings. That's my secret, I'm telling you, ladies. I show up for these meetings knowing fully well that that's my only opportunity to have conversations with them, and they know where to find me. Now, major projects are things that have high impact, but they also have high effort. So something like preparing my course that for the program that I am running on July 1st. That's something that my slides, every single thing there, it's high impact, high effort. I need to put a lot of energy to get the results I want to get. Then there are the fill-in tasks that are low impact, low effort. So there are things that I can do daily that will be fill-ins. And for everybody, it is different. And then you have the tankless tax. That's tankless. It's just a tax that you're doing and requires high effort and low impact. So you're putting a lot of energy into it, but the impact is very low. So when you're trying to decide what to do from your projects list, you think about the tasks that will give you quick wins, because sometimes you need those quick wins. You think about the tankless tasks that sometimes are time wasters, but they require a lot of effort and little impact. Those tasks you can push them aside for later, but it's understanding that not all tasks require the same energy. So we talk about the 1, 2, 3 task protocol, which I said was my own way of doing task. I wrote 1, 3, 5 before I reduced it to 1, 2, 3. So this is an old slide. So 1, 2, 3 works like this. On any day, you can choose one maxi task, two midi tasks, and three mini tasks to accomplish. You have to narrow down your to-do list to these items. If you need a little bit more flexibility, you can leave one medium task, a couple of tasks blank in case of unexpected tasks arise, because we're always thinking about um flexibility. This is something that everybody knows, so I will not really spend so much time on this. But it's important and urgent, important, not urgent, urgent but not important, not urgent, not important is a way of breaking down tasks also. So for example, writing an email could be important, but it's not urgent. So it's something that I will have to say, oh, I may do now or I may do later. Writing a blog post is not urgent and not important because I'm just using that as my practice. But something like recording a podcast could be important and urgent. So that becomes my priority for the day. Then we have the ones that say, they're urgent but not important. So it may be something like making a call to a client. It's an urgent thing to do, but it's not something that is 100% important. So these are just a few ways so that you have more than one way. You have the impact effort matrix, you have the 1, 2, 3 protocol, and you have the urgent important matrix. Now, with all these matrix, with all these ways of looking at tasks, one thing that stands the same is the activity status. How do you decide what's important? How do you prioritize? How do you push things up and down and know where to go to. Now I'm going to share with you 20. Yes, it's quite a long list. And it's 2120. I'm going to share with you 20. How you doing for me? Nice to see you. I'm going to share with you 20 activity status that you can use. Please choose the ones that work for you. You don't have to have all 20. I love some and I'm going to adapt some, but the aim is this, to ensure you complete what you've started. But it's about planning, it's about reflecting. So what I like about this list of 20 that I have is it gives you an opportunity to reflect. It gives you an opportunity to plan. It gives you an opportunity to actually get things done and see when you're going astray. So maybe you, from your master list, you can use all 20, but I don't think so unless you categorize them the way I would show you that you could. But see, activity status, it indicates that the task is currently being worked on and is actively in progress. So that's one activity status. On hold. So there are certain tasks that you're working on, and then you're like, you know what, I have to freeze this at this point in time. I cannot continue. So that task is on hold. So because you can't immediately work on it, it could be as a result of external factors that you don't have control of. It could be as a result of internal factors within the office. It could be as a result of the fact that the other people on your project have not delivered what they're supposed to deliver, and you don't want to take blame for it. So you want to put it down, that that specific task. You're putting it on hold. Why am I saying have activity status? And like I said, I'll show you a table of how this is done. It helps you understand where you are and assess what you've done, what projects you've abandoned. Because sometimes we abandon projects because we forget that we were doing them. I think pending review is another fantastic one. You've completed a project, you're working on a project, but you're waiting for feedback from your boss. So you can say it's pending review, it's awaiting feedback because you've sent it, it's you've completed your own part, but it cannot be considered finalized. So that's the mistake we make, is we feel I've done my part, that's the end. No, there could be feedback from a client, there could be feedback from your team, there could be changes that you have to make. So when you are going through your tasks for that week, you are going to say, from my master list, this is pending review. So pending review is a fantastic one. Completed, that's where we all want to get to, where we've finished this task, we've completed it, we are like, ah, this is done. This simply indicates that the task has been successfully finished, every single thing done, all the associated deliverables delivered, all the objectives met. The boss loves it, the client loves it, you love it, you've completed that task. Everybody wants to click finished, completed, whatever word you use. Now, why am I giving you so many options? Because it's a choice you have to make. But do not be spoiled for choice. Pick what works for you. But I think everybody's going to have completed on their list. Deferred. Now, there are certain tasks that have been given to you that you cannot do now, but you have to push it to another time. And what I will say is, when you're postponing, you're delaying, so those are other words you will use, but you have to be intentional about saying when. So I always say later is not a time. Yes, you want to address it at a later date, at a later time. When you defer task, write the date and time and why. So you understand, this is the reason I couldn't do this task. This is the reason it's not a priority. I had to defer it because it was a low priority task, because I did not need it at this point in time, because the client wants the result, because there are reasons you can defer. But when you're doing your task management, don't lie to yourself. Be 100% honest. Say what it is. If you are deferring because you just can't get in the vibe, then write there, blocked. This is a task that cannot proceed due to some obstacles. So people are blocking you. There is barricades. There is go slow. What I would say is, have fun when you're creating yours. Do not try and force it to work for you. Enjoy the process. So you have a task that there's no moving forward. So if you say, hold up, I don't want to use blocked, use it. Use words that will make you want to use them when you are doing your task. Hold up, blocked, go slow, no move, whatever you decide to call it. It's unique to you. The beautiful part about your personal productivity system is it's something that you use and no one else uses. It's something that is specifically made for you. So choose the words you use. Now, for those just joining, we're looking at task management. How can you decide what priorities are? And we're looking at different statuses that you could use to categorize the tasks on the work that you're doing. Cancelled. For example, we were working on a project on a digital summit and we abandoned that project. We removed it. We said we were going to defer it. We cancelled that project. So every single person that was on that task, this thing, that was cancelled. So it was no longer relevant, necessary, or feasible. And it has to be officially abandoned or removed from the task list. If it's not deferred, if it's cancelled, what I would say is sometimes put notes. It's just like when you block people's number. Sometimes put a note to find out why you block people. I remember I blocked somebody once, and the person downloaded Telegram and sent me a DM, and I could not remember why I blocked the person. To God who made me, I was unable to remember. So please, if you cancel tax, keep good notes. Waiting for input. Now, for example, Emmanuel just joined us now. I was like, oh, Emmanuel, I want you to work on this task. If Emmanuel is keeping a task manager and I have not given him the information he needs, he's going to write waiting for input. And if he writes waiting for input, the time he wrote waiting for input, and I come to him and say, you've not done this task, or the client comes to say, you've not done this task, he can actually go to his notes and say, however, I told you I needed more information and you did not give it to me. So waiting for input is a good status to use for your task. As I said, we're talking about how you can manage your task properly, how you can prioritize, because you need to keep notes. There are so many things that you want to do. If you do not have a record or personal productivity system, you're going to be all over the place. Oh, this is my least favorite one, not started. Maybe what we could do is I will show you how to create. How much time do we have? Okay, I don't have time. I will have shown you how to create your own on Google Docs because everybody has access to Google Docs. I will have, yeah, I said Notion, but Google Docs is a good way you can create this. So let's say not started. This status is assigned to task that has not yet been initiated and is pending action. So you have all the things, but you've just not started. Maybe it's not time for you to just not started. That's a simple status. Reopened. Now, there could be a project or task and activity that you previously completed, but you need to revisit. For example, we are doing the co-working. I told my graphic designer we're moving from calling it co-working to accountability. So he may have to go and reopen those co-working designs that he did to get inspiration to do the accountability ones. That's just an example, but it may be open because you need to make changes, you need to make updates, you need to make revisions. Urgent, that one everybody knows. Urgency. This indicates that this task requires immediate attention and should be prioritized over other tasks. High priority. So we have different types of priorities when it comes to tasks. There's the high, there's the medium, there's the low. So for those that are not in task management and project management, you may not know these things. But there are some tasks that you put on your calendar. If you use your reminder app, they tell you what's the level of priority. If you put high priority, they put three asterisks or three exclamation marks. That shows it's high priority. It's something that is very, 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 very important. And you need to allocate resources to it. Time, energy, any resource you can get. Remember, time is the highest resource that we have. We have the medium priority ones. Now, with these ones, they're important, but they're like our midi task. They're just in the middle, but may not be necessarily immediately at this point in time. So you're looking at tasks that could be a medium priority. For me, my medium priority right now is my slides. As of today, the slides and things for the workshop that we're holding on July 1st, it's a medium priority right now. What the high priority was recording the videos and doing all those other things. Things can move from one priority level to the other. Then we have low priority. They are of low importance, can be addressed once higher priority tasks are completed. You can't be available to do every single thing. Then this is another one I like. There are some projects that you are working on. You need to know whether you're on track or you're off track. So I will use the reset for example. We were doing a summit and we refreshed it and decided to call it the reset. Now, are we on track with that project? Yes. The task is not progressing as expected and is falling behind the original timeline. The original timeline to bring out certain things was this, but now we are trying to get back on track. So, this is just an example. Behind schedule, this is when a task is not progressive and is falling behind the original timeline. I mixed this up. On track is you're on track, you're doing things, but behind schedule is you're falling behind the original timeline. See, the disadvantage of rushing to create your slides. I created these slides in a haste ahead of schedule. Oh my goodness. Doesn't everybody want to be ahead of schedule when it comes to getting things done? You want to know that you gave yourself enough time to do it. You're not in a rush. As students, I don't think any of us was ever ahead of schedule. Some of us were just that last minute as you're about to close the box, you slip in your coursework when we used to use coursework. Need follow up. So if you need follow up, this is another lovely status to use. Feedback required. So follow up and feedback, why did we call them different? So requires additional follow up or action to ensure they are completed successfully. That's the difference. Then follow feedback is you need more input from stakeholders before it can proceed. So you've completed the task, you just need input. Reprioritize. Remember, I said we have different priorities when it comes to task. So, and now this is the table I was talking to you about. So for every goal, I just divided it into this. I said you have your goals, you have priority level, you have task level, you have due date and action item status. You don't need to use all action item status. I just used three in this example. So the key action task could be writing an email. It could be a low priority task and it could be a mini task. That's just what it is. So it's something specific, but it's due on a specific date. The reason I said use what tools will I recommend you use to create this? Now, I'll recommend you use Notion or Airtable. You can also use Google Sheets. I'm not too great with Google Sheets, but I would use Notion or Airtable to create this. So you can have these activities. So you have your priority level that was among the status that we shared. You have your task level that was among the status that we shared. And you have your action item status that actually says, this is the status of what I did. I've completed, it's ongoing, I've blocked it, I've deferred it, whatever it is. But create a system that works for you. You have a lot of options of systems. It's not just enough to have a list. From your list, once you're writing your list, you break things down further in order for you to make progress, in order for you to be able to actually say, I have done this. Oh, this is what happened. This is the reason I did not do this. You are keeping adequate notes because these notes are the things that you will reflect on. The reason we make the same mistake over and over again when we are doing tasks is because we don't keep good lists. We don't keep good records. We don't keep records of what we've done and what we've not done. We're in such a hurry every week that we fail to sit down and plan and reflect. So, this is a good reflective exercise that we're going to start using on Sunday evenings because I believe that when we do the week ahead, it will be a good opportunity for us to do something like this. We look at our goals for the week. Which one this week is should I defer from my list? Which one should I take action on? Which one is an high priority? You need to know these things because it helps you make decisions that work for you. Now, I talked about urgency, and I think I love this code. So, living with a sense of urgency helps you avoid time wasting activities. It helps you do something else. It helps you make progress towards your objectives and create a sense of purpose and fulfillment in your daily life. If you've been following me from day one, today is day 21. We've talked about avoiding time wasting activities. That there are some activities that you're doing. If you do your time audits, you will realize that there are certain activities that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. But if you do not have time to reflect, you will never point out those activities because they are time wasters and you don't make progress towards your objectives or your goals. You don't even have goals that you're trying to reach. You're just living every day. You are just existing every single day. You are not thriving. And what we want for you at the end of the day is for you to find a sense of purpose and fulfillment in your daily life. And it's possible, but it starts with looking at what's in front of you. Data. One thing you have access to that no one else does is your own personal data. And that's what you use to create your personal productivity system. Now, when should you start your personal productivity system? When should you start paying attention to what you do? When should you start keeping good records, monitoring these records, ensuring that you are ahead of your game? Start now. There is no perfect time, because you say, oh, when I get a new notebook, when I get this, when I get that. No, you don't need to wait. Today is good enough for you to start. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. I absolutely love this quote. Take the moment and make it perfect. So, what are you going to take with these moments that you are having right now? What are you going to take with these opportunities that you have? If you want to take action, take the moment and make it perfect rather than waiting for us to be perfect. Now, sometimes we talk about priority, but we have to also talk about posteriorities. While priorities focus on what needs to be done first, posteriorities shift the attention to what can be done last or not at all. So if you are overwhelmed and you just want a simple way to get things done, let's create that simple way for you. And that simple way is this: it's understanding that when you have your major list, certain activities, if you have 10 activities on your list, call somebody, write an email, um, go to the store, what else? Read a book, record a podcast. I'm just looking at my life, showing that my life is predictable. Do interviews, attend co-working. There may be certain things that I should do first, but if I start with what I should do last, I may be able to know what to do first. If I start with what I should not do at all, I will know what to focus on. Sometimes we are overwhelmed because we have too many options. But when we are able to narrow it down, we can focus on what matters. Now, what are the things that are important to you? Let's go back to the very beginning, where we started from, when we talked about our values. What are your values? What are the things that are important to you? What are the things that you hold dear? Do you have values, or are you just living your life without thinking of your values? Do you think you have values even when you've not written them down? When we talk about values, we have to understand that having a value system is fantastic, especially when you apply it. It's not just about saying, oh, I have values, I'm a Christian, I'm this. It's about taking the Christian values, taking the values from your faith, and putting them in a way that you can articulate them and say, these are the ones that I am living by. It's not cherry picking, it's saying these are the things that are important to me. For me, integrity is important. That's one of my highest values. So, and I think for me, kindness is important. So I lead with kindness, even if I am someone has done something wrong, because kindness, peace, integrity are my highest values. I hold on to this and it reflects in my life because I keep these things within eyesight. So, the question is now off to you. Hello, how are you doing today? What are the values that will guide your priorities? What are the values that will guide the tasks that you're doing tomorrow? What are the values that will make sure you pay attention to what's important and neglect what's not? I think when we talk about our values, we talk about our vision for ourselves. Do you have a vision for your life? Do you have a picture of what you want your future to be like? So, if money wasn't a problem, connections wasn't a problem, skills, expertise, location wasn't a problem, what kind of life do you picture for yourself? Now you're thinking about it. Spend a couple of seconds thinking about it. If money wasn't a problem, location wasn't a problem, looks were not a problem, creative skills were not a problem. Look, I've said location, connections was not a problem. What kind of life do you want to have? What kind of life will you picture for yourself? Paint that picture in your head. Next thing I want you to do this evening is write it. Write it down. Write the vision, make it plain. Simple. Scriptural. Definitely very, very, very essential. Write out your vision, write out your core values, know why you want what you want. Don't just want it because everyone else want it because you want it. So, what do you want in life? Where do you want to be? And then your work ethics have to meet up with the person that you want to be. You can't want to be someone that leaves a legacy behind, but you're looking at someone that doesn't even have pie wood to leave behind, or you're working like someone that doesn't have anything to give. Don't look at the current situation of your pocket when you're thinking about planning for your life. When you're thinking of doing the things that you want to do, don't just be focused on now. What's the future like for you? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I know that's a question people don't like asking themselves, but what's your long term vision for yourself? What's your long term vision for your family? What kind of family do you envision? These are simple things that will determine what we do daily. Because if we don't look forward and think about the picture we want to achieve, we are not able to even act. Your actions, your inactions, every single thing tells the priorities you hold onto, tells the vision you hold on to, tells the values you hold on to. Your priorities are the things that you do. You choose these priorities as the important things to pay attention to. If family is important to you, do you spend time with family? If money is important to you, are you looking for ways to make money? If power and wealth are important to you and generational wealth, what are you doing today that will leave generational wealth? Are you just scrolling aimlessly on TikTok? Are you just scrolling aimlessly or playing games? Are you just doing design? But you're busy and not achieving anything. So, with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you that priorities cannot exist without understanding your vision, your values, and what you want for yourself. You have to want it for yourself, not for me. I can tell you to go and do XYZ, but until you decide that that's what you want, it's a waste of time. So I want you to dream big. I want you to dream. I want you to accomplish your dreams. But most importantly, I want you to show up now. So show up for yourself every day. The way you show up in little things is the way you will show up in big things. Sometimes we think that, oh, when I get there, I will do it. Why are you not doing what you can do with what you have right now? Do what you can with what you have and watch what happens. Watch the magic that happens. It's magical, it's wonderful, it's fantastic when everything works together for good. So, thank you so much for joining me today. And as a reminder, we have a workshop coming up on the 1st of July, and it's called the Reset. If you click the link in my Instagram bio, and I'll put a link on other platforms, it will lead you to the main website to get the ticket. Now, the event is for the 1st of July. However, by 27th, we stop selling tickets. And we want a situation where by the 1st of July, by 183 days, you are able to create a roadmap that works for you. We're planning to create a personal productivity system with you to show you how to get things done. So all these things I'm talking about, you're actually going to put it to work in an event that will look at the past 6 months so we can plan for the next 6 months. There's no need trying to force yourself to do this on your own. Just join the reset and we'll see what happens. But registration ends in 5 days. Is it 5 days? Registration ends in 5 days. So please, if you're trying to secure your spot, just click on the link if you're not in Nigeria, anywhere in the world, and it will lead you to this connection where you can just easily make your payment. But it's an amazing, amazing, amazing workshop. We put a lot of time into it. It's my first workshop since 2016. And trust me, I'm excited about it. But thank you so much for joining me today. Wilson, Francesca, I miss you, ladies and gentlemen, today. Hopefully, you get to join me next time for another exciting episode. Tomorrow, that reminds me, tomorrow's session is 8 p.m. because I have Bible study at 9 every Thursday. So our Thursday sessions are 8 p.m. I think it's best we do it 8 p.m., not 8 a.m. I like the night sessions, and I'm thinking I'll have a camera standing when I'm recording so I can also get some content. But thank you and have a good night. Cheers.